So our next speaker, Michealle Jinnette. She is also one of my favorites, really favorites, the foundation leaders. She is the founder and president of Cure KCNH1 Foundation. Michealle is a passionate advocate with a crystal clear mission. Her goal is to create a meaningful impact by raising awareness about KCNH1 genetic disorders and positively influencing the lives of children and families. And she is unwavering in her commitment to drive research, constantly seeking improved treatment options and holding on to the belief that a cure is within reach. With relentless efforts, Michealle has established a collaborative network of partners, including Lauren, iXCells, and Parara, and many other organizations for developing therapies for KCNH1 kids through different roadmaps. Without further ado, let's welcome Michealle.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. I hope I can get through this without coughing. I had pneumonia over Christmas and my lungs are still not anywhere close to recovered. So I want to share a bit about our family story. These are my 4 beautiful boys. I had always wanted a big family. You know, I dreamed about all the normal things like camping and hiking and sports games and movie nights and beach days and family dinners. And we were lucky to have 3 healthy boys. And then Tristan came along in November of 2019. And I took one look at him and I thought something looked a little off about his eyes, but none of the doctors or nurses mentioned anything. So I didn't think anything more about it until he started missing developmental milestones at about 4 months old. We got him into PT and OT, and we got referrals for genetics and neurology. And the first rounds of genetic testing came back negative, and he had clean EEG. So we figured, you know, it must be some mild thing, minor thing, and with lots of work, he can catch up. And then he was about 15 months old when we got his genetic diagnosis, and it turned our lives upside down. He was not that far behind at the time, and so we had no idea how severe it would be and how it would essentially change every minute of our family's life forever. And then about a month after he got his diagnosis, he started having his first seizures, and that changed everything again. We are lucky that Tristan is relatively stable compared to a lot of rare disease kids, but we have still had numerous ER visits and ambulance rides and a couple of hospital stays and canceled trips and really hellish medication side effects that he's had to go through. And in addition to all that, it's all the everyday other effects of rare disease on our family's life that are really, really hard for us and all the other rare disease families. I picked this picture of our kids at the beach because I think that's just about the one time in Tristan's life that we have all been able to enjoy an activity together as a family. The stars aligned and he was actually enjoying the water and the temperature was okay and he actually had fun, which was amazing. But normally he basically can't participate in any normal activities or he doesn't tolerate them. And so it means that we always have to divide and conquer. Somebody has to stay home with Tristan or we have to line up a sitter for him. And it breaks our hearts that he can't participate more in life. It's also really devastating that he spends 20 hours a week in therapies and he makes essentially no progress. I don't think he's learned a new skill in almost 2 years. He spends holidays zoned out while our other kids are, you know, tearing open their presents. And one of the most stressful and heartbreaking aspects is that he just constantly cries and screams, and no matter how hard we try, we can't figure out, we don't know what's bothering him. He's completely nonverbal, so we don't know what's bothering him or how to help. And it's extremely heartbreaking to see him and stressful on all of us and our other kids. So as soon as Tristan was diagnosed, I decided I was going to do everything possible to create a better future for him and for our family. So I started reaching out to researchers all over the world. We started the process to create a foundation. We started fundraising. I started doing a million things that I never thought in a million years I would be doing, like learning molecular biology and electrophysiology and neuroscience and grant writing and event planning and website design, and meeting with local leaders and advocating at state and national levels, public speaking. And we've really come a long way. I want to back up a little bit and give some context about our disease. KCNH1 related disorders are an ultra rare developmental and epileptic encephalopathy caused by mutations in the KCNH1 gene, which encodes a potassium channel primarily expressed in the central nervous system. We have about 100 cases diagnosed globally, and it's very similar to a lot of the other DEEs, characterized by intractable epilepsy, profound intellectual disability, severe movement and speech disorders, autism, GI issues, feeding difficulties, sleep disturbance, and then we have a couple kind of unique features to KCNH1, which are gum overgrowth, which requires repeated surgeries to address, and smaller missing finger and toenails. Most of the mutations studied have been shown to be de novo variants that cause a gain of function, so the channels open too easily and stay open too long. And KCNH1 also has a connection with cancer. 70% the gene is overexpressed in 70% of tumorous cancers. And so it's possible that any of our treatments we develop that either downregulate the gene or inhibit the channel could potentially help cancer patients. Our foundation is really laser focused on getting translational treatments to the clinic. But of course, to do that, we also need to do all these other things in parallel. We need to generate models. We need to collect patient data and establish the natural history of this ultra rare disease. And we need to organize and engage the patient and professional community, and of course, raise money. Sorry, it's got a lag. I can't tell if it's gone or not. Oh, okay. So when we started our foundation 3 years ago, no one was actively working on translational treatments for KCNH1. We've made huge strides, and we now have multiple modalities in development. We have a repurposed drug that Tristan and a few other patients have tried with mixed results, some having great benefit, some none, some adverse events, not serious, but and side effects. Tristan has experienced some benefit, but nothing life-changing. We funded a repurposed drug screen and identified a couple promising hits that now need to be validated. We designed, manufactured, and screened a batch of general knockdown antisense oligonucleotides, but what we're most hopeful for Tristan is that he was accepted into the NLORM program for the development of an allele-specific ASO, and I hope we might be hearing a bit about that later today from Nadina. We have academic and industry partners working on novel small molecules that are potent and selective channel inhibitors. And one thing that I'm really excited about for the long term that theoretically is the most curative option is base editing, and our foundation just received a $100,000 grant to fund a pilot base editing project, and the preliminary data is really exciting. We have a couple highly efficient editors. Okay, our disease models. Basically from the beginning, we started working on disease models, And we now have simple cell lines, we have iPSCs, we have neural networks, we have cortical organoids, and we have a couple mouse models. But everything takes a while, and with delays and various issues, none of our disease models are fully completed and characterized other than the simple cell lines. And so we haven't really gotten to that place where we can put all of these exciting treatment candidates into our disease models and test them. The theme of today is collaboration, and we have been so lucky with our foundation to have numerous academic and industry partners who have been super collaborative and wonderful. But I know a lot of my friends in the rare disease space have not always been so lucky. And so our priorities as patients, of course, are urgency and involvements. We need better treatment options for our kids now. They don't need to be perfect. We know they won't be. We know there will be risks and that there could be adverse events, but we are willing to take those risks because our kids are suffering. And we ourselves, personally with Tristan and countless friends in the KCNH1 community and other communities, have encountered so many barriers in just trying to try repurposed drugs. So for example, Tristan, the drug that he's on, is on label for pediatric populations for bedwetting. You can hardly imagine a more benign indication. And yet we jumped through hoops for a year. We did all kinds of in vitro tests, medical tests, developmental tests, consulting everyone and their brother, all of whom were supportive. And then the neurologist that we had specifically been working with, because she's in the translational space, got cold feet, didn't want to prescribe it, and it was devastating. So, not all families are going to want to take risks, and that's fine. But for those of us that do, we need advocates and allies who are going to be supportive of that. And then, of course, we all know that it's very important to involve the patient communities in clinical trial design. It leads to the selection of better endpoints and outcomes and more successful clinical trials. Some of the things that have been really wonderful with all of our partners that we've worked with is communication. When the research you're working on literally determines your kid's future, just being kept in the loop, even if there's no news, makes all the difference. And then focus on the big picture, share everything possible. We've had partners who have been so generous with their time and their info and their assets. So, don't let competition get in the way of progress. And then take the time to invest in the patient community and get involved. Show up at our research roundtables and our events and even our fundraisers. This builds trust with the community and it motivates everyone. I've heard so many times how meaningful it is to researchers to get out and see the real world impact of what they're working on. And likewise for the patients, it makes all the difference to meet the people who are working on their kids' disease and build those connections. So yes, it takes time, we're all busy, but I promise you it will be worthwhile. I think we all know many of the benefits of collaboration, access to the patient community. We've hooked up our researchers with many patient samples, data collection, clinical trial recruitment. I do not enjoy being a professional nag and hounding people down for survey completion or lining up a blood draw, but I will do it and I can help take that burden off of you and probably be more successful at it because I have those relationships. Of course, working together, meeting regularly, breaks down data silos, reduces duplication of efforts, and avoids waste of our minimal resources. We've been really successful in working with our scientific advisors on funding applications. So we've submitted letters of support and patient cell lines that have helped some of our academic collaborators win multi-million-dollar awards. And in turn, our scientific advisors have helped us, edit and review our grant applications and very much helped us win the really large CZI grant this past fall. as well as the $100,000 one for the base editing project that then we, grant back to a lot of these researchers that we're working with. So it's a really mutually beneficial relationship. And then of course, again, meeting regularly really helps everyone optimize their research protocols and, get questions answered quickly or come up with new insights that you just wouldn't, likely send an email. But if you're all connecting on a regular basis, it can really help accelerate things.
Hi, my name is Hazel, and I have Casey and Natsula.
Can you say hi? Say hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. We call him Daddy's tail because he follows him around everywhere.
Ella es puro amor.
And he's trying to catch up with me because he'd rather be holding my hand.
Stella may not be able to walk independently, but she knows how to use her new walker to get what she wants. She even managed to make off with everyone else's coats at school one day.
She smiles in the face of adversity.
Tristan is the sweetest, most loving little person. He's always toddling over to lay his head in our laps or grab us as we're walking by.
Casey and H1 affects everything about Joseph. It makes him who he is. And it affects obviously everything about our lives as well. Our lives as a family are maybe not what we thought they would be when we had our little boy all those years ago.
Mais c'est ça, malgré son âge de 16 ans, c'est que elle a quand même elle a un âge mental de 8-10 mois, ce qui est très difficile. Elle fait rien toute seule, elle dépend de nous dans toutes les sphères de sa vie. On l'appelle notre bébé géant d'amour. Fait que c'est ça, s'il y avait un médicament qui pourrait alléger, faciliter plus son quotidien, puis notre quotidien. Ben c'est ça, ça serait. J'aimerais vraiment qu'elle ait plus conscience de ce qui l'entoure. Qu'elle puisse nous dire je t'aime. Que j'ai l'impression qu'elle nous reconnaît, sa famille. J'ai pas l'impression qu'elle nous reconnaît. Puis ça me fait de la peine des fois. Tu sais, mettons qu'on va la chercher à l'école, on arrive à l'école, c'est comme si on était des purs étrangers, là. Elle semble même pas nous reconnaître. Ça, je trouve ça difficile. Je trouve ça vraiment difficile.
Onun gelişim basamaklarını tamamlayamadığından itibaren hem özel eğitim hem fizyoterapi aldırdık ancak ilerlediğimiz yol çok uzun bir yol olmadı. Bu yüzden de dünyada yapılan bilimsel çalışmalardan da umudumuz yüksek. Belki geliştirilecek bir ilaç ya da genetik bir tedavi Melih'in yürümesine, konuşmasına ya da farklı bir şekilde iletişim kurmasına.
My brain sends a message to my mouth that my mouth doesn't get.
I would say that the most difficult part of having a child with this disability is the unknown. Bentley could have just, a wonderful start to his day like he did today, a little bit tired because he decided that he was going to stay up all night, to, having a full-blown grand mal seizure this morning, which is very scary, very traumatic.
The hardest part, which is Rafi's seizures. They're extremely scary. My husband and I feel often very helpless because there are no triggers, many times no warning signs, and even at 8 years old, they're really uncontrolled.
Mi mayor esperanza, me diga lo que quiere, lo que siente, lo que le gusta.
So if we could eliminate seizures altogether, that would be a dream. Our hopes for the future and with future treatments are for Bentley to have cognitive growth. To us, it's more important to have that cognitive ability than physical abilities. So if treatments could help with that, that would be a dream come true.
For Arisa to be able to understand us and talk to us, but in the end, it doesn't change the fact that she is our sunshine.
So thank you all for learning a bit about the KCNH1 community. And of course, this is representative of all the communities we serve. I just appreciate everyone being here and all of the work that we're doing together to improve the futures of the rare disease community.